No, Doctor Who is not cancelled. It just isn't. But it is at risk of being cancelled. Let me explain this to you again. Welcome to the Tachyon Pulse podcast, part of the scitrek family.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.
So there's a bunch of rumours going around, and some of them were emailed to me because Bad Wolf put out a tweet or a statement, and they were basically advertising they've got studio space available. And they were saying, look, we've just done Doctor Who in 2024, and we've done something else, and, we've got capacity, basically. But because it kind of sounded like Bad Wolf were putting Doctor Who in the past tense, people have jumped on that and thought, well, it's been cancelled then. It's not happening. Now, this does at least in part come from Ncuti Gatwa, who back in just before Christmas was on Graham Norton's show, and he actually spoke about plans for season 3 going into production. But then actually, at the request of the BBC, that element was cut out. And there had to be basically a press announcer saying that, like, no, that's not happened. It's not going in production just yet. That has led to further rumours. Now, we over here on the scitrek family have heard several rumours about what's going on with Doctor Who. But our understanding is that back in October, negotiations were going on to extend the current Disney deal. Now, Disney pay for about 2/3 of the budget for Doctor Who, for the international rights for the new TV show. But Disney don't own the larger rights to Doctor Who, so they don't have the back catalogue. That's important. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. They were negotiating in October, but that stalled. Basically, when the first season dropped, as they were getting all the sort of backlash, they were looking at the figures, from the viewing figures, etc., that they were a little bit disappointed by. I mean, even Russell T Davies has said, okay, the viewing figures weren't what we were hoping, even though they did very well in some demographics, particularly younger demographics. They've sort of said, look, okay, we need to have another think about this. And I was being told at the time that Disney were pushing for Russell T Davies to be removed as showrunner. I have heard that, and apparently that is still something that Disney are talking to Bad Wolf and the BBC about. They also have questioned whether Ncuti Gatwa should continue to be the Doctor, or whether they should recast it and maybe have another rethink. The BBC and Bad Wolf have sort of said to Disney, okay, we understand your concerns. The Christmas special is a bit different. Season 2 is going to be different. We've got different writers coming in. Russell T Davies did an awful lot of the heavy lifting in the first season. We've got other people coming in the second season. And it's going to be more like what Doctor Who is supposed to be. And we think fans are going to love it. They didn't love the Christmas special. We obviously haven't seen the second season yet. So, my understanding is that Disney said, okay, well, let's see how the Christmas special goes. And then we'll complete negotiations and we'll figure out the deal. But we would like to talk about how to get the back catalogue on Disney Plus as well. My understanding is what Disney Plus would like to do is basically roll the series. They'd have a couple of seasons on at any one time. They wouldn't have the entire back catalogue, but they would have old Doctors and they'd put specials on and things, but they'd rotate it. But at the moment, the BBC, those rights belong to, I think they're on Max abroad, but they're on BBC iPlayer in the UK, and they can get them through different ways. But what Disney would basically like the BBC to do is get those rights back and for it all to go into Disney Plus. That is where we're at the moment. Doctor Who Season 3 has not been cancelled. It's just not been green-lit. The problem is, if Disney pull out, they are paying for 2/3 of the budget, roughly. And without that money, it is very unlikely that the BBC would move ahead with Doctor Who third season. They can't afford it. There are lots of projects at the moment that the BBC have greenlit that they're not moving forwards with, because basically what the BBC is saying, and I've repeated this in the other video, but it's still going around, so I'm going to have to repeat it again. The BBC are only really paying fully for certain shows Other shows, what they want to do is they want to pay about a third again, and then they expect the production companies to go and find the rest of the funding from other sources, other streaming providers, that sort of thing. So they want things to be done in cooperation with others, and for others companies to take on a chunk of the financial budget. There are lots of projects that they've greenlit that can't get the funding and can't get made. Google it. Honestly, there's loads. So, if Disney pull out of this, the BBC and Bad Wolf would have to find another partner. They would have to get in touch with Netflix or somebody else and get somebody else to help pay for the show. That is not guaranteed by any stretch of the imagination. If nobody else fancies it, and let's be honest, sci-fi isn't exactly being well supported at the moment by the streaming services. I look at how many new sci-fi shows are coming out at the moment. It's not as many as we'd like. Then, if they don't, where is that money going to come from? It's not going to come from the BBC. In which case, I am being told that it is very likely the BBC would put Doctor Who on hold until they figure out what to do. Effectively cancelling it again. Putting a hiatus, delaying it, however you want to put it. That is where we're at the moment. It's a boring reality, but it's the reality. So, we're going to have to wait and see what Disney decide, what the negotiation happens. I do wonder if some of these things might be negotiation tactics by Disney, so maybe they just want to do it, but they don't want to spend as much, etc. There will be a bit of to and fro going on while these negotiations are happening. I am also told, though, that a decision is likely to be made very quickly, any day. We could get some sort of announcement. So keep an eye on that. And I'm told it really is 50-50 which way Disney will go. So we're just going to have to find out, aren't we? Nothing we can do. In the meantime, if you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It really helps us out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can go to patreon.com/scitrek where most of our new videos do premiere first. And you get to see them without the adverts. So go check it out. As always, please stay safe. And I'll see you next time.